Let's talk about what makes training training. Hey everyone, Dylan Schumacher, Citadel Defense, and we are here today to talk about what makes training training, right? What is training? And I bumped into this tweet a couple of weeks ago, and I've been thinking about it a little bit on and off since. So I'm gonna read it to you, and then we're gonna discuss it. Dry fire is cool and all, but I hate that it trains only one aspect, and people think that's enough. If one more dude asks me to post my splits as if that has much to do with combat, I might actually snap. Train tired with one arm strapped down after running 5 miles or lifting to exhaustion. Train with someone shooting back. Range warriors are stupid. So I thought about that tweet, and I thought about that tweet on and off. And I think that it misunderstands what I think training is. It misunderstands what training is, right? Whether you're doing surgery or learning to play the piano or you're doing gunfighting or whatever you're doing in life, if you're training at it, you are trying to master the basics extremely well. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to know those basics really well so that you can do them when you're tired or when you have one arm strapped down or when you've just ran 5 miles or whatever, right? Like that's what you train for, is to be able to do those things. Doing something tired isn't training. And let's be clear, like you do have to train when you're tired, right? Like there are times when I go out to do my weight training and I'm lifting weights and I'm tired. I don't want to be there. It doesn't matter. Lift it anyway. Lift tired, right? Like that's a thing. But what I'm saying is to intentionally make yourself tired so that you can do this skill while you're tired. I don't know. Suboptimal training. Are you training like some mental resiliency? Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, there's a reason that in the SEALs qualification for BUDS, they have Hell Week, right? Where you sleep like 1 hour a night for 5 days or something crazy, right? What are they doing? Are they training you to like use weapons really effectively during that time? No. They have people running up and down the beach and carrying boats and lifting logs, right? And building little sand forts with their paddles. Like, are they training anybody there? No, they're not training you to do combat stuff. So what are they doing? Why do they do that? Because they want to find out who's gonna quit. It's pretty good at that, right? So what are they training or are they qualifying? Really, right? And after you make it through that, if you made it through Hell Week, I'm sure those guys feel invincible. And like there's nothing they ever can't do again. I would assume you feel that way, right? You feel that, hey, I made it through Hell Week. Like, this is nothing, right? I survived that. So what's being trained there? Mental resiliency, toughness, right? Ability to resilient, so what's being trained there? Mental toughness, resiliency, right? Ability to overcome adversity. Those are important things. Don't get me wrong. But is there value? For example, okay, let's just say I want to learn to shoot my gun one-handed. I can just take this hand and put it in my pocket, right, and draw and shoot. Or I can, grab behind my belt behind me or whatever, so the hand's out of the way and draw and shoot. Or I can put it up here, or probably cover the mic there. Put it up on my chest and draw and shoot, right? Like you can do all that. Or would it be more value to have my buddy come over and duct tape it to my chest? I don't know. What's the skill? The point is, how can I get the gun out one-handed? If you can get the gun out one-handed and there's a tourniquet on this arm, or I duct tape it to my chest, or whatever, or I have to hold the 50-pound weight above my head and draw and shoot, right? Like the important part is, do I have this skill down? Do I have the skill for this hand to clear the garment, get the gun out and make the hits, right? That's the important skill. Whatever's going on with this hand, it's just superfluous. Will it add maybe mental factors and again, resiliency, toughness? Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason we do that stuff. But this idea that, dry fire isn't enough and you have to do these other things, I don't think I believe that. Because I would say, well, what are those other things what are they training you to do? What are they teaching you? And again, if you're saying, well, Dylan, mental toughness, you need mental toughness in addition to dry fire, I'd say, okay, yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know how you're supposed to train with other people shooting back. I mean, I'm assuming he means sim courses, I hope, or miles or something like that. And I've done those, and those have been helpful. And again, but I'll tell you what prepared me for those. I'll tell you what gave me the the skills or lack thereof to succeed in those was if I did enough dry fire, right? If you have this down, right, if I can get the gun out, drive the gun, hit my reloads, and that doesn't take any thinking anymore and it just happens, well then that other stuff gets a lot easier, right? Then, when I get into the scenarios class, what am I training then? Am I training weapons manipulations? No. What am I training? I'm training decision making and thinking and tactical prowess and use of cover, and maybe I have to talk to the bad guy, right? Like, there's a whole host of other things that are being trained. But I just think this idea that you just need to train tired and lift to exhaustion and then train and then that'll be the most value training, I would disagree with that. I split my lifts, and what I mean is, Mondays I'll do squats, Tuesdays I'll do overhead press, right? Would it be more value to my overhead press if I exhausted myself with squats and then did overhead press? Not really. You need to do overhead press tired. It's like, well, not really. Now, hey, people do this on the same day. If that's your training regimen, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. My point remains that you have to understand these are training different things. And when we act like it's all one thing, I think we confuse what training is, right? And we muddy the waters into thinking it's just this be tough thing. And I would say no. We need to get very good at skills. Gun out, trigger, reload, etc., clear malfunction, right? Very good at skills. And then there's this other aspect of decision making, mental resiliency, toughness, etc., that need to be trained. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's good to mesh those. But when you're meshing them, one's going to be primary. This is how it is. So anyways, I hope that's helpful. I hope that gives you something to think about. Don't just copy Twitter gunslop or what I say because you think it sounds good. Think about it. Think about what it is that you're actually doing and what's going to provide the best output for what you're trying to accomplish. Do brave deeds and endure.